leaking on the front driver's side. It might be from the master cylinder, or it could be from one of the lines coming out of it. I'm not sure exactly, but there's actually a second leak about halfway back on the passenger side. That's definitely a brake line. So I have one brake line and another brake line, or master cylinder leak. I'm not sure. I have to wait till I can jack it up, get a closer look. But I do not have a jack, so I had to wait for my brother. I would drive it to my friend's house and use his jack, but his driveway is so steep. Like, I'm not doing that. That's going up it is fine, but I wouldn't be able to leave until after fixing the brakes, because there's no way I would try to drive this down that hill. As it is, I'm like, I don't even want to drive it home right now. Not sure how long the fluid will last. I mean, I topped it off, but it's just coming out every single time I touch the brake. It's just pumping the fluid right onto the street. So, I'm gonna get this baby home and park it until we can fix it. And guess I'm just not gonna have a car temporarily. So, good times. I will say I got a can of SpaghettiOs with wieners and one of my favorite all-time treats. I don't know why. I love SpaghettiOs. They're absolutely amazing. The ones with the little hot dog pieces or wieners, or Franks. They're called Franks. That's the name. I mean, it's all the same thing. There's just different names for the same food, but I love, love, love the SpaghettiOs with the Franks. They're so good. So, anyways, I got slightly better stopping now since I got fluid in there, but it's not going to last long. So, and if I can try to coast as much as possible, that would be great, because the more coasting I do and the less actual braking I do, the less fluid I will pump out of my system. On the other hand, got like this right here. Probably can't tell on the camera, but it's a bit of a downhill. It's actually kind of long, not super steep, but it's so long that it will build your speed up pretty quickly if you're not paying attention. So I have to break through here, especially since the other lane is closed. I don't have anywhere to go if the traffic stops in front of me. I literally will have to drive up over the curb to avoid hitting a car. And that's actually, years ago, I had a little Subaru station wagon. The brakes got mushier throughout the day. I was still a new driver. I mean, I had been driving for, I guess, like 6-7 years, but I was still fresh meat in my opinion. So I was driving, my brother was in the car, and it's going down this really steep, long, steep hill, and the brakes went out completely, and I'm like, oh no. And in that particular case, that was the very first time I ever drove with zero brakes. Like right now, I have like 5% brakes. That day, zero. Literally nothing. Like they went to the floor and didn't stop the car, didn't slow it down, didn't put any pressure on anything. Like there was zero brakes. And so it was rush hour, and I ended up driving up a curb and just barely missing a tree in order to not hit any cars. And I was like, Patrick, are you alright, man? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, cool, because that was a bump right there. That was a big bump. But surprisingly, I didn't mess up my rim or my tires. I kind of expected that I would have had a flat or bent rim or something. No, nothing. Didn't damage anything. Subaru is a great car. But anyways, we ended up deciding to risk it. I told him, I said, we can go the rest of the way. It's about a mile or so down the road. I said, if you want, we will just not do that. I said, if I do this, your life is just as much at risk as mine, and I'm not going to do that to you without your consent. So if you are okay with risking your life or your safety, then we'll go ahead and give it a shot and see how it goes. If not, then we will just have to figure something out. He said, let's go for it. I said, all right, let's do this. and drove it down, and I mean, literally I just coasted with my hazards on. The parking brake on that car did not work. It was an old car, and the parking brake was probably just rusted. Just like you pull that arm and nothing happens. So the cables are probably rusted. So I had nothing for brakes, and even downshifting didn't help. It didn't help because we weren't going super fast to begin with, so it really didn't make a difference whether I was in second or drive. So, we say, Black Lives Matter. There's only one guy out there with a sign today. Kind of surprised anyone's out there. It's 90 degrees outside. So anyway, we got to the turn to get off the main road into our neighborhood. Lots of traffic. I couldn't cross over to turn left, so we stopped. I rolled up a hill and then back down the hill, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I opened the door, and I did it Flintstone style, and Patrick did the same. We used our feet to stop the car from rolling back any further so we wouldn't hit any traffic. And then we decided at that point to just go ahead and push the car by hand. And someone from the Department of Transportation just happened to be there. Hold on. They weren't on duty or anything. They probably worked at the driver, whatever it's called, the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. They probably worked there. Like, they weren't in a company car or anything. I just saw that they were wearing their uniform. And this lady was so cool. She got out, she helped us push the car onto the side street, and it was awesome. Now, that particular day I found it hilarious because I also had a suspended license at the time. So I found it hilarious that I was suspended, and here the DMV people are helping me push the car, not knowing I'm not supposed to be driving in the first place. But anyway, don't drive illegally, kids. It's not safe, it's not smart, it's not cool. It will only hurt you, trust me. I cannot tell you how many fines I've had to pay and all that. That was a long time ago, though. I haven't been suspended in a long time. My license has been valid for many years now. So, anyway, yeah. That's the story of the first time my brakes went out. Another time I was down in Indiana visiting my mom. This was about 20 years ago. I had a little Geo Metro. She had someone's, what was it? Not a Monte Carlo. It was it was like a muscle car anyway. And that thing had a lot of power. I mean, just beefy car. I think it was an old Impala, I think. Like an old Impala, like 60s or 70s. So I asked her if I could drive her car back to her house and she could take my Metro. And I'm so glad we did, because the brakes went out on me as I pulled out the driveway from her work. It was a really steep downhill driveway. Brakes went out and I'm like, oh crap, not this again. So I drove it, and I should have parked it, stopped it. No, I didn't do that because, I was young and stupid. So instead I drove it home, or to her house, and I drove it to her house, and then I made it there. We ended up driving it to her mechanic's house, again with zero brakes, and but we made it, and she drove my car when she got off work an hour or two later, and so she made it good because she had my car with good brakes. Anyway, I went right past the turn that goes into the little unincorporated town she lived in, so I ended up going down the road, and then I had to do this crazy Y-turn with zero brakes, and it was absolutely crazy, but I made it happen. Again, I love driving, and I'm good at it, and I don't mean that to sound conceited, but I'm telling you, I've done things that not everyone can do. I don't know how. I give God all the glory. It's got to be God. There's no way I did that on my own. No way did I do that on my own. So, anyway, I made it home. We're good. Brakes are garbage, but whatever. I made it. So we're going to go ahead and call that it for the video, and I'll post this one and the previous one as soon as the one that's currently loading is done loading. Hopefully that'll be done soon. It just keeps going and going, man. It won't stop. It's been going for 24 hours, I think, and it still just won't load. It's unbelievable. Anyway, All right, that's it for this one, guys. Take care of your animals. They'll take care of you. And I'm going to add on this one because of the circumstances. Take care of your car so it will take care of you. All right. Have a good one, y'all.